In this episode, we are going to talk about forgotten 80s cartoon villains. So, stick around. Dorks and Dorkettes, and welcome to Nostalgia Syndrome. My name is Rob, and like I mentioned, this episode is going to be about forgotten 80s cartoon villains. Like I mentioned in the previous forgotten 80s movie toys, cartoons are another subject that I'm kind of afraid to undertake because, like with movies, you can kind of get lost in the minutia of everything. So we're going to be talking about the villains, and I'm going to keep it right around that universe, the villain universe. So if I forget something or omitted something, it's simply because it didn't fit with the narrative that I want to talk about this evening. And I used to say this disclaimer all the time, and I'd like to say it again for this. These cartoons have fan bases, so to them, the villains are definitely not forgotten. But for a lot of us, they were. Or they were cartoons that we didn't really watch growing up. So I'm only approaching this as forgotten because I'm speaking for the general populace. So if you're a fan, please don't take any offense of me saying that these are forgotten. So without further ado, let's get to number one. Hold up, before we get to number one, I forgot to say something. In the background, I'm going to have footage from the intros of these cartoons playing. And I would love to show them in their entirety with sound, but it seems that the music is what gets hit with copyright more than the actual visual. So, yeah, we're just going to be watching them in the background, and I'll still pop up pictures and whatnot. So I just wanted to address that. So anyway, let's get to number one. Our first forgotten 80s cartoon villain comes from the Rainbow Brite cartoon. This is Murky Dismal. His real name was Merkwell Dismal, Murky for short. He is one of the two main antagonists from the Rainbow Brite universe. The other being Lurky, his sidekick. Now, the thing about Murky is he just hates color, simply because he doesn't like that it makes people happy and it beautifies places. So he wants to eliminate all color across the world once and for all. Hence, making everything as murky and dismal as he is. Now, any great villain needs a backstory, and Murky, he actually has one. See, back when Murky was a child, he loved color. He loved it so much that he would paint on the walls, draw on the walls, and just use the most bright and happy colors that he could find. That was until his mom punished him. And she said he needed to clean it all up. Either it take a day or the rest of his life. He needs to erase all the color. And somehow that stuck. And yeah, ever since a kid till now, which is 700 years. This dude is a 700-year-old troll that, yeah, he wants to eliminate color, all because he was punished by his mother. I mean, like I said, every great villain needs a background story. Now, an interesting fact that I found out was that Murky was actually voiced by Peter Cullen. Yes, Optimus Prime, Peter Cullen, did the voice for this character. So that's a really neat factoid. I mean, Peter Cullen did dozens upon dozens of different cartoon voices, and I think a lot of them just get overshadowed by Optimus Prime, which makes complete sense. So, yeah, it's a really cool factoid that Murky and Optimus Prime are both the same person. Our second forgotten 80s cartoon villain comes from the cartoon Spiral Zone, and this is Overlord and the Black Widows. In the year 2007, brilliant yet twisted scientist Dr. James Bent launches a space shuttle, and from that shuttle he drops zone generators across half of the planet. These zone generators end up creating a region which takes up half of the planet called the Spiral Zone because it resembles a spiral. Millions of people are trapped within the Spiral Zone, and they all become mindless zombies. Yellowed out eyes, and they start getting red inflictions all over their skin. These are called zoners, and Dr. Bent, who now goes by the name Overlord, has complete control over the zoners. Now, his base of operations is out of the Chrysler Building in New York City, and here, along with his gang, the Black Widows, he lords over the Spiral Zone. Now, of course, there's good guys that want to undo all the damage he's done and take him out. But we're here to talk about the villains, not them. I'll get to them another day because I'm a big fan of Spiral Zone. Anyway, the Black Widows, with the help of the Widowmaker that he created, are immune to the mental properties of the Spiral Zone. But the physical properties still inflict them, as parts of their faces and bodies are red and almost muscular. Now, for a villain, his main goal is to just control all the people in areas within his Spiral Zone, and one day expand that zone to the entire planet. So, I mean, that's a pretty typical supervillain type of plan. Now, as far as factoids about this character, he was voiced by Neil Ross, who is also the voice of a couple G.I. Joe characters, namely Buzzer, Dusty, and Shipwreck. He was also Keith and Pidge in Voltron, as well as various characters in Transformers. But he was also the voice of John R. Rambo in the Freedom Fighters cartoon. Now, the one thing that kinda has made me leery about talking about Spiral Zone is another one of the factoids, was that it's based on a Japanese toy line. Now, what's really cool about this toy line was that it was created by Gundam designers Kunio Akawara and Kazushi Kondo. So, it's really cool that they have a pedigree within Gundam. I mean, that's pretty cool. But, like I said, it's kind of a big topic to talk about once you start digging through all of the Japanese connections and Matchbox's collaboration with them. So, one day, hopefully I'll get to it. But we'll continue to look at the toys in later episodes, definitely. Our next villain comes from My Little Pony, and this is Tyrek. Tyrek appeared in a standalone episode called Rescue at Midnight Castle. Now, his goal was to kidnap the ponies so he could turn them into monsters, and then once they were in monster form, they could draw his chariot. Now, one of the creepiest things from Evil Monster Centaur was this bag that he had that would beat like a heart. Inside this bag was the Rainbow of Darkness, and this gave him the power to turn the ponies into different monsters. Now, in the episode, Tyrek invades Ponyland. You would think they would have a better name. Pony Kingdom, that even sounds better. But anyway, he invades Ponyland and drenches it in darkness. And he's able to secure himself 4 ponies. Unfortunately, one of the ponies is too small to draw his chariot. but he transforms 3 of them into dragons. Eventually, by the end of the episode, the ponies are able to use the Rainbow of Light and defeat Tarek. And in the process, turn everybody back into a little pony. Now, Tarek was the first My Little Pony villain. And he was pretty dark because he openly threatened to behead and kill his various subordinates. I mean, that's pretty dark for a kid's cartoon, and one that would be categorized as a girl's cartoon at that. He also has the distinction of being one of the only characters in a TV cartoon to suffer an on-screen death. I mean, who thought My Little Pony went that hard? Now, our 4th forgotten 80s cartoon villain is from a really awesome cartoon. The cartoon is Jace and the Wield Warriors, and these villains are Saul Boss and the Monster Minds. Now, the background for Jace and the Wield Warriors is pretty awesome, because Jace's father, Aldrich, was a skilled and brilliant botanist, and he ended up working with biotechnology, and he attempted to make a plant that would end starvation across the galaxy. Now, he was very successful in creating this plant, but unfortunately, as he was finishing up the creation process, a nearby star went supernova, and it ended up bathing the plants in radiation. This created the Monster Minds. He was forced to flee his own laboratory, and once he left, the Monster Minds made that their headquarters. Now, Saul Boss and the Monster Minds had the ability to transform into vehicles, and because of that, the Wield Warriors were created to combat them. They also had the ability to create an endless army of clones. Now, these clones weren't as big or powerful as their originators, but like I said, there were countless amount of them. So, yes, an endless sea of a vegetable vehicle army. Now, unfortunately, the cartoon ran for 65 episodes, but the story was never finished. See, the cartoon was made to promote the toy line, and even though the cartoon was very successful, it didn't boost sales for the toys at all. And, unfortunately, a second wave of figures never made it to production. And the cartoon kind of fizzled when they weren't selling the toys. It's sad when that happens, that they can't just unjoin those two different things of the franchise, the toys and the cartoon. I mean, they're making them mutually exclusive, and it just imploded for both of them. So it's very unfortunate. They should have continued on with the cartoon, and maybe the toys would have come later. Kind of like Black Star. Now, our 5th and final forgotten 80s cartoon villain is from the Care Bears, and this is Nohart. Nohart is the main antagonist of the Care Bear family, and he came along in Season 2 when the Care Bear cousins also arrived onto the scene. Now, he has a minion named Beastly, who was usually put up to task as being like the main antagonist in individual stories, but Nohart was the BBG, or Big Bad Guy. Now, he was a bad-tempered, ruthless, wise, evil, gloomy, powerful wizard, and no one knows where he came from. They only know that he has residence inside a perpetual storm cloud with a castle on top, which is his abode, this castle. His very existence exudes fear and dark desires from people. He also has the ability to shapeshift, and he turns into a lot of different animals and even dinosaurs, and as a lightning bolt to travel back and forth. That's pretty cool. He also uses tons of other spells, and, you know, it's just like that MacGuffin wizard. He can do whatever he wants to suit the episode. So, I mean, that's pretty cool omnipotence of a power. Okay, folks, that was a look at 5 forgotten 80s cartoon villains. Now, again, like I said, I'm always a little standoffish when it comes to talking about movies or cartoons because, yeah, there is so much to unpack. So, we condensed it down just into the villains, and one day, if I feel up to it, I don't know a better way to say it, I would love to talk more about movies from the 80s and cartoons from the 80s and the 90s. And yeah, but like I said, I mean, even this, I got 5 pages of notes. I mean, I usually don't do a lot of research. I like to approach videos like as a reactionary, like, oh, look at this, blah, blah, blah. It looks cool. It does this. But this, I wanted to have a little bit more background on these characters. I mean, it wouldn't be fun just to go, hey, Nohart looks cool. He fought the Care Bears. But, yeah, I think these are all really solid villains. And a lot of them, really great character designs. But anyway, enough of that. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to everyone. And if you're new around here and you enjoyed this or any of the episodes that YouTube is recommending down here, please hit subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, you'll be notified whenever there's a new episode. So anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. Keep being rad, and stay dorky.